Okay, so welcome everybody to Expert in the House tonight. My name is Julie Watson. I'm a triple diamond with ASEA, and hopefully by the end of this webinar, you'll have a better understanding of ASEA and our company. Okay, so cells are the basis of our health, and I'm here to introduce you to redox signaling molecules and a product that significantly increases the efficiency of communication signals between our cells, which improves detection of damaged cells, cell repair and cell replacement. Your body really does already know how to heal itself. It just needs the material and the labour to do that. So ASEA and Renew 28 are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure or prevent any medical condition or disease. They simply empower the body to heal naturally the way it was meant to. So redox signaling molecules are made in every cell in our body every second of every day. They are essential to life and they are involved in every major body system and function that we have. So a little bit about the genesis of ASEA before we go any further, just so you know about the company. So these two gentlemen, Vertus Norton and Tyler Norton, are father and son. And basically they came across this technology when Vertus was sitting on the board of a biotech company that was actually trying to produce and stabilise redox molecules to sell to a pharmaceutical company. And the biotech company was actually running out of funds and they had made a redox molecule, but they hadn't been able to stabilise it. So Vertus actually ended up buying all of their patents, all of their safety studies, all of their technology, and basically employing a medical atomic physicist named Dr. Gary Samuelson to come along and help him with a group of scientists to finish the job and actually stabilise the molecule. They did actually manage to do this, and of course, you know, Vertus was a businessman and his every intention was also to sell it to a pharmaceutical company. But previous to the pharmaceutical company coming along and offering them some money, they'd actually started to trial the product on friends, family, neighbours and other people, and they realised what the product was capable of. And when the pharmaceutical company came along and offered them a large sum of money for the product, they were told that they would have to take it off all the people that already had it and nobody would be able to have it. So thankfully they sided with the people and they decided not to sell it to a pharmaceutical company, and they had to figure out another way to distribute the product and get it to the world. And that's why you're hearing about this way from me, word of mouth marketing. And we need a lot more people to help us get this product to the world. So this is our lovely founder, Vertus Norton, and he says, we are all at the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. And I can tell you, we are changing the world at the moment, one cell at a time. And if we could tell the world what we really have, we would be bigger than Amazon overnight. But we can't do that, sadly, because ASEA is not even a supplement in Australia. It's actually been approved as a beverage. So my ASEA story and how I came to be with this amazing company. So this is a picture of me, and it's not about this particular journey, but it's about what happened to my immune system after I'd had this treatment. So I'd had a lot of abnormal cells previous to having that treatment, and when I had that treatment, the doctor told me that my immune system would be so compromised that they would get a lot worse, and they really did. As you can see, I had a lot of previous issues, and they continued viciously after that treatment. And you can see here, once the nose was healing up, they actually cut more out of my forehead, which you would think was not possible. And it really wasn't, because the doctor had trouble stitching that up and actually broke the sutures trying to do it. So he then went on to try other treatments for my abnormal cells. So I had this particular treatment several times, and it only reacts where there are abnormal cells. So you can see I had quite a lot of them, and when that treatment wasn't working, we tried another one, which was this one. And again, it only reacts where there are abnormal cells. So this was the point I was introduced to Renew 28 actually. I put this picture on Facebook, and a friend of mine called me and said, you really need to know about Renew 28. And I will be forever grateful for that particular phone call, because I have not had any issues with my skin since I started using Renew 28 and taking ASEA. So my health journey, just so you know what ASEA has actually changed in my life, I had a huge systemic infection at 16 and had one ovary and tube removed at that point. I had many major operations on my bowel, bladder and ovary I had left over the next quite a few years till I was 25 when I had a complete hysterectomy. I've had hormonal deficiencies, immune challenges, inflamed and aching joints, lots of sleep challenges, abnormal cells in the breast that had spread to my lymph nodes when I was 39, glandular issues, fatigue and autoimmune problems, high cholesterol in my early 30s, high sugar levels in my early 30s, abnormal liver enzymes, chronic back pain, and also thinning bones from this history. So ASEA really does harness the power of your own body to keep you well. It's not a medicine, it's not a drug, it doesn't cure anything. All it does is help your body at the most foundational level and helps it heal. So I have had significant improvement in many of these issues. I've certainly reduced my need for any medication. And the biggest one for me has been my recent bone density results. So every year I've had decreasing bone density for quite some time, where I should have been taking medication, and the doctor has tried to get me to take medication for a long time. And I just didn't want to take that particular medication. I didn't like the side effects. So the year before last, after taking ASEA, the bone loss slowed down slightly. And then this last year, this was done, I think, in November. My bone density had actually increased by 1.3% in my hip and 1.8% in my spine. And that is a very significant amount. And I really do believe that that is what happens with longer term use of ASEA. So introducing ASEA Redox, which is the labour. It is the labour that you need for your cells to get the job done of healing you. It is 10 to 15 years ahead of its time. It's absolutely cutting edge technology. It's a complete new category of science. And in fact, every time we open up in another country, we have quite a difficult time with that, because literally the powers that be do not know what category to put us in, because at the moment there is no category for redox signaling molecules. Your doctor may not know about it because this technology is so new, and less than 1% of the population actually know about redox molecules or ASEA. And it was truly once thought to be impossible. So we have somewhere between 75 and 100 trillion cells in our body, and there are quadrillions of chemical processes that take place in our body every second. 300 billion cells are replaced every day, and 300 million cells die every minute. So we really do need to look after ourselves. So the cells and the fluid in between the cells all contain differing amounts of sodium chloride, which is saline solution. And that is why if you go to hospital, a doctor will use saline solution in an intravenous drip, either to rehydrate you or to give you some sort of medication. Our body uses saline solution to produce redox molecules. Our cells are little bags of salt water. And in our cells, we have something called mitochondria. And some cells have a few mitochondria and some have thousands. So the more work that cell needs to do, the more mitochondria there are. Like a heart cell or an eye cell will have a lot more mitochondria. But our mitochondria are responsible for converting our food into energy during what's called the Krebs cycle. But they also have another really important job, which is to produce redox signaling molecules. There are two types of redox molecules. One is a reductant and one is an oxidant. So reductants are responsible for protecting the cells by activating our natural antioxidants, glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. And oxidants are responsible for detecting, repairing, and replacing damaged cells using the immune system. So how does ASEA actually make ASEA? The exact same way we do in our cells. They start with pristine salt water that has gone through some amazing cleaning processes. And then that salt water is broken down into free-floating atoms. And over several days, it goes through an electrochemical process. And then it is restructured back into stabilized redox molecules, exactly the same molecules that you have in your body. And that is exactly what we have in our bottle of ASEA Redox. and our Renew 28 gel. Our bodies do know how to heal themselves. They just need the material and the labour to do it. And this shows you how important your diet is. The materials that our body uses is what comes from our food and maybe the supplements you take, because today we really all need to take supplements. So it needs proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, etc. It needs all of those things as a material to be able to build new cells. But the labour is all directed by redox signaling molecules. They are the things that signal your cells to do what they need to do. And sadly, today we don't have enough of them, or we have an unbalanced set. So there are two main types of stress that cause illness: oxidative stress and inflammatory stress. They are also an important part of the body's healing process, though. A lot of people think these things are bad, but they're actually not. They're only bad when they get out of whack. We need oxidative stress to build bone and things like that. And inflammatory stress happens in your body when your body's trying to heal itself, and that's a good thing. But when they don't switch off when they should, then they become chronic and cause illness. And again, redox molecules actually control this process of switching oxidative stress on and off and inflammatory stress on and off. So this is an interesting scale. So the failure of your immune system to activate your natural antioxidants is called oxidative stress. It causes hypertension, heart disease, Alzheimer's, macular degeneration, osteoarthritis, stroke, obesity, and type 2 diabetes, just to name a few. On the other side of that fence, we have inflammatory stress, which is the failure of your immune system to detect, repair, and replace damaged cells. This causes things like asthma, allergies, bowel issues, thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, autoimmune disorders, cancer, and skin issues. And when I started taking ASEA, I had every single thing on that list. So what that tells you is that I was actually highly inflamed. My body had a lot of inflammation, which was causing a lot of issues. And literally, ASEA has not healed all of those things or cured all of those things. But what it has done is help my body deal with the inflammation at a cellular and genetic level. So redox biochemistry is not new. It is actually one of the fastest growing areas of science in the world today. You can find a lot of information about it. There are thousands of studies already done on redox molecules, published in scientific and medical journals, and there's well over 1,200 books written on redox biochemistry already that has been published. So if you're going to do a bit of research on, not ASEA, but research on redox molecules, please don't go to Dr. Google. You won't find the right information in Google. There are places you can go that have nothing to do with ASEA to do research on redox molecules, and Google is not the place for that. You can go to Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a much better place. It looks for the information where it should be getting the information from. So I did this a few days ago. I typed in redox signaling molecules into Google Scholar, and within 0.03 of a second, it had over 1 million hits. The other place you can go, which is really interesting, is pubmed.gov. So that is the US National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health. Neither of those things, neither of these websites have anything to do with ASEA. They are simply a place you can go to really have a look at what is going on behind the scenes with redox molecules right now. And it's really fascinating to find out. Let's have a quick look at a couple of them. I'm not going to go through them, but this actually tells you that redox is a modulator of pain. This one talks about redox as a modulator of Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Disruption of redox homeostasis leads to aberrant cell signaling, macromolecule damage, and is associated with human pathology such as neurodegenerative diseases and cancer. Another one, redox as a modulator of autoimmune and inflammatory diseases. Redox as a modulator of physiological disorders. Redox as a modulator of infertility. The list goes on, literally. So a question you may be asking right now is, why haven't I heard of redox molecules? Well, who has heard of an antioxidant? Yep, every single person on this call will have heard and probably be taking antioxidants. You know why? They were discovered in the 1920s. And when did you actually hear about them? It took a very long time from them to be discovered in the 1920s to you actually knowing about antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E and all the other great things that you can take to help your increase your antioxidants. The very first signaling molecule was discovered in 1998 by these three scientists, and they actually won a Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine for their discovery. And they discovered a nitric oxide molecule in the cardiovascular system as a signaling molecule. And since then, the race has been on in the scientific community to actually look a lot deeper at redox signaling molecules and what they actually do in the body. So let's talk about what a SEA isn't, because a lot of people get confused with this. It is not a vitamin, a mineral, an antioxidant, an exotic juice, an alkaline water, an energy drink, a steroid, and it is absolutely not a medication. A SEA is a cell signaling supplement. It improves cell communication inside cells and between cells. It activates our own natural antioxidants. It improves gene signaling in genetic pathways, and I'll show you a study on that in a minute. And it simply helps your body heal itself. Your body is a very complex communication network, and it's a little bit like having a house on fire and having a strong cell signal, and you call the little red fire truck in to put out the fire and your house doesn't burn down. What happens if you don't have a phone or you don't have a good cell signal? You can't tell the fire brigade the address and the house burns down. And sadly, that is what's happening in a lot of our bodies today. And there is a missing link, and that missing link is actually redox signaling molecules. Redox signaling declines with age. So we start when we're born and even in mum's tum with lots of healthy mitochondria, which means we're making lots of redox signaling molecules. But they start to decrease with age, and by the time you hit puberty, they are starting to decrease by 10% per decade. So by the time you're 80 or 90, you are making very little redox molecules and you're not healing very well. So science says that we lose about 10% of our ability to produce redox molecules each decade from puberty. So if we have 100 trillion cells, by the time we are 50 years old, close to half of our 100 trillion cells can't protect or repair themselves. Just imagine that. Close to half of your cells are not able to protect themselves or repair themselves. And that's just the normal aging process. Science is starting to understand that our redox signaling molecules and the way they decline is a very major part of the aging process. And we're not meant to live forever, and hopefully we will never live forever, but it certainly helps you live healthier and probably longer if you have a balanced set of redox molecules. So what if we're making even less today? We are. The stress we are all under today, the environmental factors that we have to face today, and of course the diets that some of us eat today. And even when you try to eat healthy, you're still not eating very healthily today. This all is slowing down the cellular healing process. So imagine this, age 50, maybe you have 50% of your cells that are really healthy and able to detect damage and repair damage and even protect the healthy cells that you have. At age 60, it might be 40%. At age 70, it might be 30%. And at age 80, it might be 20%. And this is why elderly people's skin starts to look like this and this. You know, they can't repair themselves. They've got no ability to repair. And I have seen the redox gel do incredible things for elderly people and this type of issue, because it's putting redox signaling molecules straight back into the skin where they're needed and into the blood supply around there. Have you ever known anyone that does all the right things and just can't get well? You can eat a perfect diet, take great supplements and even medications, but they won't make a difference to the trillions of your cells, depending on your age, unless you have enough redox molecules. So there will always be a certain amount of your cells that aren't able to uptake the nutrition from your food, not able to uptake the nutrition from the supplements that you're taking, and certainly not even be able to take the medication that you are using as well as it should, because there are so many of your cells that just aren't working. So why aren't we getting better? Pharmaceutical drugs generally treat symptoms. They're not out to cure anything. They simply want to treat the symptoms. And I'm not against hospitals or doctors or drugs. They've done a lot for me over my life. And I'm not trying to put them down. But what I'm saying is they're not looking for root causes of things. They're just treating symptoms. So when you have a balanced set of redox molecules and enough redox molecules in your system, it really will help your body heal at the root cause of the problem. So our bodies break down. They're breaking down right now. We talked about how many cells are replaced and die every day. That's happening right now. So the reasons these breakdown happens is actually very simple. The body stops responding to instructions from genes. So redox signaling molecules play a huge part in gene expression and regulation. So Tourette Laboratories, this was not done by ASEA. This gene study was done by Tourette Laboratories, which is a genetic laboratory in America. And ASEA has been scientifically proven to increase the signaling in 5 really important genetic pathways. And the signaling increased by 20 to 31%. Now that's not a little amount. And this was in the areas of immune system response, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, digestive health, and hormone modulation. So it activates our immune system. It reduces inflammation and enhances immunotolerance. It activates vascular health maintenance and elasticity, reducing heart disease. It increases enzyme production and gut health and activates hormone pathways. Who wouldn't want that stuff going on in their body? And this is actually the results of the study. The pink line is the placebo, and the placebo is saline solution that ASEA is made from. And the blue line were the people taking ASEA. And as you can see, that eight-week study, the gene signaling to 5 really important genetic pathways increased by 20 to 31%. And this is one of my favorite slides because it explains why I see what I see in me and also a lot of people around me that take ASEA. One of the genes they tested was EGR1. EGR1 is a really interesting gene. It affects another 15 additional genetic pathways. And some of those pathways are serotonin. So it affects serotonin receptor, which really explains why people get a clearer head when they take ASEA, why it helps with anxiety and things like that. It helps with addiction. Circadian rhythm related genes, so it helps people's sleep patterns. It took 8 months for ASEA to help with my sleep, but it did eventually do it, and I've been able to sleep every night since. Human thyroid stimulating hormone receptors, so explains why I don't take thyroid medication anymore. Insulin signaling, again, a lot of people that have insulin issues, this really is a significant thing for them. They sometimes can get to decrease the amount of medication that they need to take once they've been on ASEA for a little while. And a really important one, of course, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, very important for growth and maintenance of brain cells. But the really, really big one is the NRF2 pathway. And the NRF2 pathway is responsible for antioxidant health in our body. Oxidative stress is the #1 health risk factor today, and the NRF2 pathway is critical for the production and activation of your own masked antioxidants, glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase. And our studies have shown that it is increased by 500 to 800%. Again, that's not a little amount, it is huge, 500 to 800% increase. Of course, our bodies are adaptogenic, and it is not going, taking ASEA is not going to increase these things unless you actually need it to. It's not something that will just automatically happen. It will only happen if that's needed to be happening in your body. So let's have a look at some redox case studies. These are from Dr. Wayne Pickstone. I know several of these people personally. So May is an 84-year-old lady, friend of mine's mother-in-law in Thailand. She had an 18-month-old open heart surgery wound that just would not heal. She had memory and speech loss. She had uncontrollable shaking, and she was barely able to walk. The family had spent thousands of dollars on treatment, and thousands of dollars in Thailand is a lot of money. And after 2 months on redox, she was healing, talking, eating, and she is now back riding her bike. So the gene pathways here that were affected for May, they were immune system response, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, inflammatory response, and of course, antioxidant health, the NRF2 pathway. So this is Kevin Ho from Singapore. Kevin is a lovely guy. He's a friend of mine. He had 4 years of very, very ill health due to heavy metal toxicity. He had digestive challenges, constant nausea, ringing in his ears, loss of all sexual drive, lack of motivation, emotional turmoil, and muscle and joint discomfort. And when I say muscle and joint discomfort, it doesn't even begin to explain what Kevin was going through. He spent $55,000 without any results, including travelling overseas to other countries, trying all sorts of things to get himself well. Kevin was introduced to Redox in mid-2017, and after only 4 days noticed changes, and after 4 months was 90% improved. Last time I saw Kevin in Singapore, he now really only has a slight ringing left in his ears, and slowly that's getting better. His heavy metal toxicity was due to an injection. So immune system response, inflammatory response, hormone modulation, serotonin receptor, digestive health, and NRF2 pathway were the genes that were positively expressed for Kevin. Danny Clifford. For nearly a decade, Danny has lived with respiratory challenges, which have just got worse. And as you can see from this picture, she's quite purple-blue in the face. She was not getting enough oxygen. 2018, she was taking Ventolin, heaps of steroids, using a nebulizer, advised to carry an EpiPen, and she was in hospital often and could lose consciousness. March 2018, she started on Redox. After 5 months, she has had no major breathing episodes and has not required any hospitalisation. She loves life and is looking forward to the future. And this is what Danny looks like now. Again, immune system response, inflammatory response, hormone modulation, and the NRF2 pathway. So this is Bruce Currington. Bruce had a battle with a tick-borne disease. 2007, he had a rash and flu-like symptoms. He was given medications with little to no result and had been sick for many years. In 2013, he actually tested positive for a tick-borne illness, which is interesting because they say it doesn't exist in Australia. From 2007 to 2016, he spent over $100,000 trying to get himself well. After 1 year on Redox, his health is now 95% improved. So the genes positively expressed here for Bruce were immune system response, inflammatory response, hormone modulation, and the NRF2 pathway. And this is a lady from Singapore. May 2017, she had severe blood sugar challenges and serious leg ulcers that just would not heal. She started on Redox in November 2017. She applied Redox around the ulcers a few times a day, and by 7 months, her blood sugar had stabilised to normal range and she is taking no medication. And this is what her ulcers look like now. Genes positively expressed, insulin signaling, of course, immune system response, hormone modulation, inflammatory response, and antioxidant health, the NRF2 pathway. And this is the lovely Danny. I met Danny a few weeks ago in Gympie. Danny has had some amazing health challenges for 20 years. She's actually allergic to the 21st century, including the sun. She was unable to cuddle her partner without any reaction. She couldn't sleep. She told me that the nocturnal animals were most of her friends because she wasn't awake during the day. She was awake at night because she just couldn't go out in the sun. At her worst, Danny needed daily oxygen, had severe memory loss, migraines, brain lesions, and was in a wheelchair. She was 120 kilos and very close to death, and her blood pressure was down to 69/56. Her specialist diagnosed her with more than one incurable rare disorder. After 5 months on Redox, 20 years of ill health have been reversed, and Danny is now 80% improved. Her brain lesions are gone and she weighs 75 kilos. She still has a challenge with the sun, but she told me that that is improving slowly. So immune system response, inflammatory response, hormone modulation, the NRF2 pathway, and for Danny, brain-derived neurotrophic factor as well for her brain lesions. So a SIA Redox supplement is scientifically proven to regulate serotonin, to reduce anxiety, to regulate a healthy sleep cycle, to reduce inflammation, signal healthy insulin production, support thyroid function, regulate hormone reception, lower LDL cholesterol, something else that's done for me, improve enzyme production and gut health, increase the production and efficiency of antioxidants, increase endurance, increase metabolism, decrease our disease risk factors because it reduces oxidative stress, maintain vascular health and arterial elasticity, which is extremely important. Heart disease is still the #1 killer today. Have zero toxicity no matter how much is taken, 100% safe for people of all ages. So what are the experts saying? This is Anne-Louise Gittleman. She's the First Lady of Nutrition in America, and she's written a lot of books on nutrition. And she says, ASEA, in my humble estimation, is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well. That is one of my favourite sayings when it comes to ASEA, which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well, because that is exactly what ASEA does. It simply helps you heal at a genetic and cellular level. So this is the Dr. Gary Samuelson, medical atomic physicist, who actually stabilised these molecules. And he says this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. So if you're wondering if it is just salt water in our bottles, as some websites on Google say, ASEA is actually scientifically validated. This company, Bioagilytics Laboratory, is a large company. They provide services and research to some of the top pharmaceutical and biotech companies in America. And they actually certify that our ASEA redox supplement and our Renew 28 gel contain active redox molecules, not salt water. And they wouldn't be able to do this if that was not true. ASEA is the only place in the world where you can get these two exclusive products. ASEA Redox Supplement is cellular health from the inside out, and of course Renew 28 Gel is cellular health from the outside in. It's 100% safe, non-toxic, and they're not natural, they're actually native. Redox molecules are native to your body. Natural is a strawberry. Native is something your body already makes. So let's have a quick look at Renew 28. It is the most advanced anti-aging skin therapy ever brought to the market, and it truly is simple, safe, proven, affordable and effective. And these are our small beauty range that we have, and these two products actually contain redox molecules. The Renew 28 Revitalizing Gel is a full body gel, can be used anywhere, and the Renew Advanced Intensive Redox Serum is for fine lines and wrinkles and things like that. We have a gentle refining cleanser and an ultra replenishing moisturizer. Both of these products are beautiful, plant-based, no nasties in them whatsoever, and they really, truly are lovely, lovely products. Bear in mind that you can have a healing challenge even with the Renew 28. If you start using it on your skin and you feel dry and tight or flaky, or something starts to break out, don't worry, that is simply a detox reaction, and just let Renew 28 work through that, and at the end you'll come out with lovely skin. And that doesn't happen to everybody. In fact, it happens to a very small amount of people, but it's just nice to know that if your skin does start to feel dry or whatever, that you don't think that Renew 28 is causing that. It's actually helping your skin, and you just put a moisturizer over the top of it. So Renew 28 is validated by science. Dermatest in Germany have given it a 5-star clinical rating, and so have Stevens and Associates. So these are the things that they have found with Renew 28. 23% decrease in wrinkle depth, 23% increase in skin smoothness, 20% improvement in elasticity, visible reduction in redness and irritation, 16% faster skin cell renewal, and of course 50% increase in skin blood flow. And this is a really important one, 50% increase in skin blood flow to the area it is applied to. And that is why many people report benefits from applying Renew 28 to areas of joint and muscle discomfort 3 times in 5 minutes. And you can see the results of that here. This is thermal imaging, which is called thermography. So what they do is they do these thermal imaging things to show the heat, and that is inflammation. So all of these red areas are inflammation. And basically this is after the gel has been applied between 1 and 3 times in 5 minutes or so. And then after that, after that you can see the results when they are scanned again. There is a very large reduction in the inflammation. So these are some pictures of users of Renew 28 and what it's capable of doing. It's great for fine lines and wrinkles, any sorts of skin issues. Great for elderly people's skin, as I said before. Helps with veins, with vascular health. This was a 12-week clinical study done again by Dermatest on cellulite, and you can see the improvement there. So that was nearly 16% improvement in the appearance of cellulite. Issues like this. And this is the power of longer-term use of Renew 28. You can see after 5 months there is quite a difference there in the dimpling of that skin. So with Renew 28, seeing is believing. You can actually see the difference. You can also feel the difference if you use it somewhere where you have some inflammation. But imagine what it can do on the inside if it's doing all that on the outside. So meet my friend Derek. Derek is a very good friend of mine, and I went through this journey with him personally. This was Derek before ASEA, and Derek was diagnosed with abnormal cells in his urethra, which had spread to his bladder and his prostate. He was given only one choice by his doctors to remove the organs. Derek chose to try a high dose of ASEA for 6 months first, and after that, he was actually free of his issue and still has his organs, and his family always says that lets people know that they really do have a choice. And this is what Derek looked like after ASEA. And they also told him that he had the blood test results of a newborn baby. And this is Dan Doyle. Some of you on the call will know Dan. This was Dan before ASEA, obviously going through some treatment similar to what I had gone through. And he was basically told after quite a lot of treatment that there was no hope for the treatment to work. He was introduced to ASEA, and again, he is now completely free of his health challenge. And in fact, what Dan does is travel the world sharing ASEA, and he does a wonderful job of that. And I think he's the 3rd top income earner in the company right now, and he deserves everything he gets. He's a wonderful man. And this is Dan and his lovely wife, Suzanne, now. So ASEA Redox supplement has an absolutely amazing impact for athletes as well. It increases their endurance and strength because they recover a lot faster and they repair a lot faster, which means they can go back and train sooner than they normally would be able to. It increases their mental stamina, which is really important for a serious athlete, and it actually increases their VO2 max by up to 12%, and that is massive. VO2 max is ventilatory threshold, or the amount of oxygen you can keep in your bloodstream before you run out of energy. An improvement of that much is the difference between a first and last place in a race. So, you know, athletes really do love ASEA and Renew. These are some of our athletes. We have quite a few athletes. The young man in the top corner is Cody Miller. He is an Olympic gold medal breaststroke champion. He has been taking ASEA through Olympic Games, so you can tell that it's not a banned substance for athletes or any type of drug, or it would be picked up, but it's not. It's totally native to the body. And this gentleman down in the far corner is Eddie Hall, and Eddie Hall is actually one of the world's strongest men. So ASEA's mission is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world, and also to be the #1 cellular health company in the world, and they already are that because there is not another company in the world that has redox molecules. We talked about the materials and the labour that are needed to get the work done, and recently they have started to add some wonderful nutritional products to help us with the material side of things. So Viasource is a whole food and micronutrient complex. It contains vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, organic superfoods, trace minerals, digestive enzymes, and it's 100% whole food nutrition. It's zero synthetics and contains really important cofactor nutrients to go with all of the above to make sure that your body can absorb them properly. And there's some really great patented technology behind these products. These products are not for retail in Australia, but if you are an associate, you can order them from America. They also have a full spectrum probiotic, which has 16 probiotic strains to repopulate the microbiome, and it includes prebiotics to feed the probiotics and some herbal support to create that optimal environment so that the probiotics actually want to stay there. And then Via LifeMax is our lifestyle and vitality formula. It basically contains a powerhouse of anti-aging ingredients. So we live and die at the cellular level, and ASEA is the only company in the world to offer your cells the material and the labour to get the work done. So let's answer some questions that you may have at this point. It cannot hurt you no matter how much you take. You can't be allergic to it because your cells already make it. It can increase your cells' uptake of medication and help it work better. And the reason for that is once you've taken it for a little while, there are more of your cells that are able to uptake medication. And this is the reason that quite a lot of people get to reduce their medication and even sometimes get off medication. It's simply because your body is starting to work better. It doesn't interfere or interact with any drug or treatment. We never suggest anybody stops any treatment or stops any drug. ASEA will just help all of these things work better. It's not a banned substance for athletes, as I said before. And if you're on a salt-reduced diet, there is only 125 milligrams of salt in a daily dose of ASEA, which is a fraction of the recommended daily allowance. So there is not a lot of salt in ASEA. If you can eat a carrot, you can take ASEA. But you must increase your water intake if you start to take ASEA. So results are all about timing. 1% of people see a difference really quickly, but 1% of people is not a lot of people. You really do have to give this product time to work. It works at a cellular and genetic level, and it's not going to work overnight for most people. Most people will see some sort of change within the first 90 days. And if anybody asks me, can they just take one bottle, or can they just take 1 month supply? My answer is no, because I understand that they may not see a change within that time, and then they will think that ASEA doesn't work, and I know that's not the case. So I always ask people to commit to at least 90 days of taking the product properly when they first start, to give it a chance to show them what it can do. And some people can take even longer. There were things in my health journey that took 8 or 9 months. So it all doesn't happen overnight. But most people have more energy, a clearer head, and sometimes some better sleeping quite early on in the piece. So please commit to at least 3 months if you're going to start taking ASEA. How much ASEA should you take? Every case of ASEA includes 60 ml plastic cup. The maintenance dose is 60 ml twice a day, 10 to 15 minutes either side of food. You don't need to take it on an empty stomach. ASEA is not digested in the digestive system. The molecules in ASEA are so tiny, they are taken up in the water pathways and soft tissue of your body. So in your mouth, in your esophagus, and sometimes even down into your stomach. But they go into your bloodstream and into your tissues through your tissue, not through your digestive system. And tests have actually shown that the molecules actually survive the acid in the stomach as well. So athletes or a therapeutic dose of ASEA is actually 120 ml twice a day, so double the standard dose. So if you're impatient, like most of us are these days, you can actually speed up the effect by doubling your dose after a week, or even straight up. Some people just double their dose straight up these days. If you're healthy, don't really have any serious health challenges, and you just want to see what ASEA can do, start on a double dose. You don't have to stay on a double dose, but once you've noticed the difference, then you can go back to 60 ml twice a day. If you have any specific health concern, please talk to the person who invited you to learn about ASEA, and they will get an answer for you on how much you should be taking. So ASEA will help you create an optimal preventative environment in your body. It'll help your body at the most foundational level, which of course is your cells and your genes. It'll help your body fight any battles that may already be raging somewhere that you don't even know about. You have to remember that nasty things that happen in our bodies take 8 to 10 years. From the time that first cell changes, it's 8 to 10 years normally before it really rears its ugly head. So it'll help you feel better, sleep better, look better, add years to your life and life to your years. And my favourite saying with ASEA is, may you never know what you are preventing, because ASEA is a wonderful preventative thing. It's like most people today take vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, and literally most people would tell you they don't notice any difference at all, but they take them because they know they're good for them and they know long term it will be doing them good. ASEA is absolutely no different. So of course it would be very remiss of me not to talk about the opportunity that ASEA offers people, because we really do need a lot more people to help us get this technology to the world. So breakthroughs create really big opportunities. Imagine having the single greatest breakthrough in wellness, anti-aging, athletics and skincare in your hands and having absolutely no competition and no copycats. That is exactly what we have with ASEA. We do have the single greatest breakthrough in wellness, anti-aging, athletics and skincare. We have absolutely no competition whatsoever and won't have for some time, and we have no copycats. And the big one for people who want to share this is less than 1% of the population know about it. Imagine how many people you would be able to share it with. We are currently in over 30 countries, just opening up now into Asian markets. And we are on the doorstep of Asia, and most people do know Asians, or somebody they know will know somebody in some of these countries. We have high impact, high integrity products, and this is our growth curve, which is quite amazing. You can see where the company is heading. The company is a wonderful company owned by amazing people who care about people. Some key things that you should know about ASEA as a business: it has reached over 100 million US in annual sales. The goal for 2018 was that amount, and it was reached in October. Global sales were up 50% in 2018 over 2017, truly amazing growth. Global enrollments were up 53.2%, and global auto ships were up 40%. That one alone speaks volumes to me. Most network marketing companies have auto ships, and a lot of people don't particularly like auto ships. But with ASEA, you need to be on auto ship for the product to come regularly, and so you don't run out. And the fact that auto ships are up that much really does speak volumes for the company. So this is once in history timing for anybody thinking about getting on board with us as a business at the moment. We are pre-momentum and post-risk. All our risk has been taken. We have been around since 2009. So we are a very safe company to join. And we obviously are right at the start of our very massive growth phase. So where do you see yourself? As a consumer, wonderful. Please get back to the person who invited you to listen to this tonight and get started on your ASEA journey, but please commit to 3 months. You can do ASEA part-time. You can build a lovely business part-time. You can be a full-time stay-at-home mum. You can be somebody who works full-time. My first few years in this company, I worked a full-time job as a real estate agent. I built the business to a diamond level while I had a full-time job. So if I can do that, anybody can. And a part-time builder in ASEA can earn, this is a weekly income, an extra $500 to $1,000 in your household. How much is that going to change your life? And this can be all done part-time. And of course, you can also move into a full-time position with ASEA, work for yourself, work from home, work from wherever you want in the world, and earn $10,000 a week and beyond. And there are many people doing that right now. So there is absolutely nothing like making a living while making a difference. And that is exactly what you do when you share ASEA. And ASEA is a very, it is an easy product to share. You don't have any copycats. No one else has what we have, and we have a lot of success with the product. So it is very, very easy to share with people. So for more information, please get back to the person who invited you to this presentation.